Let's talk about 2007's Hot Fuzz. I think we should review this one for the greater good.
The greater good.
This film's about a really good police officer that's so good that he embarrasses all of his colleagues, so they shift him off to a shitty little town called Sandford. There happens to be loads of murders there, and he tries to crack the case, finds out there's a cult there. Essentially, he just continues like before, right? He arrests like a large group of underage drinkers, and then there's this guy called Danny Butterman, which is Nick Frost. He's like pissed out his face. He tries to get in his car and he's like, "You're not going to drive that drunk, are you?" He's like, no. He turns round and then suddenly the car like narrowly misses him, doesn't he? And crashes into the fountain in the middle of the town centre. So he nicks him for being pissed and drink driving. Turns out he's actually the son of the police inspector, who's Jim Broadbent, who's Frank Butterman in this, not Roy Slater, but he goes to like get him out of the cell, doesn't he? And he's like, he's escaped. Where is he? And he just appears behind him in a police uniform.
Fucking uniform. He has no recollection of the night either, does he?
No, he just has no fucking idea.
There's like so many funny things when he gets to start work. Like when they go into the evidence room, the code for it is 999. He runs somewhere and there's a load of garden fences, isn't it? And we see it's very similar to Shaun of the Dead. He does like the best jump, and then at the last one he does a fucking front flip over it. Like,
yeah. It's just the fact he's now in this little town and he's got to deal with like the shittest crimes in the world, doesn't he? Like the first one's like an escaped swan.
Oh, and that goes throughout the whole film, doesn't it?
The swan's the hero at the end, isn't it?
But like everyone throughout the film, all the police are just like oblivious to everything, and Nick is the only guy who is suspicious about anything. And then Danny tries to become his best mate because he loves police films.
It's Point Break and Bad Boys 2, isn't it? People just start randomly dying. Martin Blower and Eve Draper are just decapitated from some hooded figure, and then a guy called George Merchant who's blown up in a house explosion, isn't he, by the same hooded figure, and they make it look like he was making some beans, don't they? Then you've got a guy who's a local reporter called Tim Messenger who has his head pushed into his body by a falling church spire.
Oh my days, that was fucking incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that is savage, that death, isn't it?
Just so out the blue. I like that we have Timothy Dalton, the creepy guy who's rich. He turns up after every single murder, doesn't he? And you're like, this is the guy.
So he runs the local Summerfields, doesn't he? He basically realises later down the line that it's not just one person, it's multiple people doing the killings, doesn't he? Chasing one hooded figure, and then another one goes off in another direction, doesn't it? Oh shit, there's something much bigger going on here. A bunch of them have called themselves the Neighbourhood Watch Alliance.
The NWA.
Yeah, which is fuck the police. What they want to do is keep the title of Village of the Year, and so what they're doing is they're murdering anyone who could be a threat to their village image, as it were.
All led by Danny's dad as well.
It's at this point it just degenerates into this frantic series of gunfights everywhere.
Just all sorts is happening in it.
It culminates in like a battle over a supermarket, and then once we go through that, we end up with that smug, like, rich owner of the Summerfields and Nick having a fight. It's almost like a fight over the village because they're in a model village, aren't they?
Yeah, oh my god.
But slips on a model Summerfields delivery van and impales himself. That is fucking brutal, isn't it?
Brilliant, because like I thought he was going to die, but like, no. Oh, the pain.
He's trying to speak, isn't he? He's just like, oh. It's amazing. Like that throwback humour, though, I love it. And again, it's like this dry sarcasm throughout this film that's really enjoyable.
Everything's all sorted, and then someone says, like, well, you're not going to arrest the whole village, are you? And he fucking does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he goes and takes the whole lot down.
Montage of him just arresting.
And they're all fucking psycho in all of the, like, mugshots, aren't they? They're all, like, screaming. You see him, like, placid, and then it'll flick, and they're, like, mental. And then his old teammates turn up. They're, like, asking him to come back, and he's like, no, I actually quite like it here now. So he stays in Sandford with his best mate
Danny, who constantly throughout the film is like when they're on a break, he's like, pub. And then at the end of the film he does it again, doesn't he? He's like, what are you thinking? pub. They pretty much go to the fucking Winchester, don't they?
All three of these films revolve around just having a pint, don't they? Again, like, same with this film. I think the writing is genuinely good. There's foreshadowing, there's clever humour throughout. I really like the usage of, like, Point Break and Bad Boys 2 as, like, the reference films.
Yeah, man.
And again, it's kind of a bromance film, isn't it? It's like...
Definitely, man.
And I like the way that the Cornetto... So these three films, like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and then World's End, have a reoccurring theme, not just of fences, but cornettos. I like the use of the Cornetto's colours. In this one, they use a blue Cornetto. Blue for the police, isn't it? Shaun of the Dead, it's red because zombies. In The World's End, well, we'll get to that when we review it.
Yeah, definitely, mate. It's good that, like, we have an English police film.
Which is genuinely, like, so spot on of how police forces are in the UK. Because you've got, like, the really overly serious Met and then pointless police officers. And it's so spot on. Hot Fuzz, Kof. How did you feel about it? What do you reckon?
Really good. Great script. Great acting once again. I love the callback with the fences, and I didn't quite like it as much as Shaun of the Dead. I don't think it was as well, like, rounded as a film, but it is still a very solid film.
Interesting. See, I prefer Hot Fuzz to Shaun of the Dead. I definitely preference watching this. I just enjoy it more. I guess I found the storyline a bit more gripping. You know, essentially Shaun of the Dead is just, right, we've got to get back to this pub because there's a zombie apocalypse happening. Whereas I think with this one, it was like, there's some kind of like weird cultist murdering gang that he's trying to work out, and I found that a bit more interesting. And, you know, I wouldn't say by miles. Again, I think, you know, similar to Shaun of the Dead, I think it's just written really well. It's got typical British humour in it. It's got those throwbacks to, like, the other films and, like, reoccurring jokes. So yeah, for me, like, really, really enjoyable. Like, yet again, another film that I could, you know, watch multiple times and not be bored
definitely.
of it, even though I know exactly what's going to happen. And Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are just such a great duo. All round, good. And if you agree, you should probably hit subscribe if you haven't already. Let's be honest, if you listened all the way to the end of this episode, you might as well hit subscribe to reward yourself with something else because you've lasted this long.
Reward yourself with our great appreciation.
Or a comment.
A comment would be nice, actually. We don't get many on these, so comment the fuck away.
Yeah.